Hello, so let's get started. Give it a minute. So I'm just going to get set up for the challenge here. But as the title states, this is, rather than a Thomas YouTuber, which is what I understand most people are who are doing this challenge, I am instead just a speedrunner. A speedrunner who set up the board for this game. And after the first week of that board being live, he also holds all of the records for it. So, not realistically me trying to even brag, to be fair, because nobody else has really done anything but our version of this. So, 3, 2, 1. Let's get started, because we can talk for the next 10 minutes while Gordon gets where he needs to go. So yeah, different style of video for me. Normally all the videos on my channel are just speedrun demos. So, not even having commentary. I normally mute my microphone on OBS so that I can just sit and chill out. Not have to worry about what I'm saying or what I'm doing. But I wanted to branch out a little bit because I wanted to share some thoughts on the game, share some thoughts on this challenge, explain why the rules I set for the speedrun board are slightly different, and yeah, just have a quick chat about stuff. So, firstly, the game. To give context, not a huge part of the Thomas fandom. Not that I didn't grow up with Thomas, I watched it 20 years ago when I was a kid, and have a lot of nostalgia for it. Preference, all in model era, never watched CGI. Was definitely an old head in that regard. But I saw the game, I was interested, I will admit that. Just thought it'd be funny. But it was actually some people daring me to 100% the game on Steam that got me to plunge into it. After 100%ing it, it's unironically pretty good. Pretty fun. Has its issues, it's buggy, it's rather unoptimized, which causes stutters and lag, which although don't affect gameplay that much, like they're very unnoticeable when you're playing the game casually. As a speedrunner, it does cost me about 2 seconds, 3 seconds across this run, which doesn't sound like a lot, but the difference between first and second on speedrun.com for this with my rules is like 3/10, so it is quite a lot. Going into that though, so yeah, I enjoy the game, but going into the speedrun stuff, firstly I just want to say I understand why the challenge rules are set as they are, and I have no issue with the challenge at all that's going across YouTube. I think it's great from a content perspective. As someone who works in this area in general, not myself, but in terms of reviewing it and discussing it with my uni work, the content is very well put together for engagement. It's taking something thematically correct from the show to showcase to the fandom and making it a challenge that you watch to the end. It's engaging, it's good. They're all good videos. I don't have any issues with the rules per se, because for the challenge it makes sense that everybody does exactly the same thing because no one's going to take it that seriously. What I wanted to do to give longevity to the idea is change it slightly, just to keep it a bit more open-ended and open-ended, you could say, so it's more accessible from a speedrunning point of view. So coming from the speedrunner side of things, just for context, I set up the board. so I writ the rules. I think a big part of the experience for a speedrunner, as somebody who's done multiple different games of different genres, is finding out what you can and can't do in-game, not in terms of the rules. And alongside that, it's about thinking about ways you can save time on other people through finding different routes, different options and different perspectives, especially for games that aren't that popular. For your big games like your Mario 64, Super Mario Bros, Celeste, things like that, they all have very well researched, well documented, well looked into routes that it's next to impossible to find time save without finding something critically new with how you play the game. For a game like this that has a lot less people running it, you can be the one to find new stuff just from casually playing it and finding a little bug or glitch or idea or place where the track works slightly differently. And those slight things can give you an advantage in a speedrun. And I wanted to leave it a bit more open-ended to allow for that, because this game has very little in terms of choices and routing. It's interesting, and the reason why I chose to speedrun it after completing it is because of how you save and lose time. Instead of it being based on movement or getting something wrong, although losing time can be very much getting something wrong in this game, it's generally from specific timings and how you can carry momentum and speed, because you're literally on rails. You don't choose where to go, Gordon. I don't have to direct Gordon here. The game's already set my route. I'm just choosing how quickly I go at each individual point. And for the story missions, that's great, because there's a lot of places you can come off, get it wrong, you have to stop at train stations, everything. For this, and for the challenge, it's not for a speedrun, because you just hold W the whole way. There's one moment where I have to slow down, and I don't think that's good for almost a 20-minute run. If, like, interactions per minute is what I'm thinking. For the story modes, you have to interact with the game quite a lot, you have to engage with it. The APM's not 0. Like, since leaving the station, I've not touched my keyboard. I've touched my mouse to do some moving, although the game looks terrible so that it runs properly. But in terms of actually affecting the gameplay, I've done nothing. And I won't for another 5 minutes. And I don't think that's good for a speedrun, longevity-wise. So I wanted to try and keep it open-ended, just so that, while still keeping it thematically correct with it being 4 loaded coaches, just so that, you know, it might last longer than just a week for the challenge. The rest of the categories I feel are a lot more stronger as speedruns, although they're a lot longer and therefore a bigger commitment to do. So all stories is all of the stories. It's about 2.5 hours from my estimates. My PB has a lot of failed levels. It can probably even go lower than 2.5. Thomas percent, which is about 45 minutes. Again, I think that can go a fair bit lower. The shunting challenges, which is the 3 challenge missions where you line up a collection of trucks in order, which is another about 45 minutes. And then the James DLC levels, which are about over an hour, because they're surprisingly quite long levels. But overall, there's a lot more interactions. They're a lot longer, which is why I've also added individual level categories, so you can just do one of the stories and have that be the speedrun. So it's, again, making it a bit more accessible for people. But I just feel like the premise of this run is quite closed off, and I think for the health of a speedrun board it doesn't help much. But it works better for content. So again, no disrespect meant, no shame on the run and invalidating those that haven't done the specific challenge rules, because I noticed on one of the submissions that they added the YouTubers that have made the challenge and said, oh, not quite, you didn't start at the right place, and that's fair. It's just 2 different intentions. One's more for content and engagement, one's more for long-term accessibility and the health of a speedrun leaderboard. But I just figured I'd try my hand at the other one. And it just gives me a platform to do a little bit of yapping on. Aside from that though, my thoughts on the games in general is pretty good. As somebody who's not a massive, like, active member of the fandom, and it's no discredit to those of you that are, who still enjoy it as grown-ups. I think it's great. People are welcome to enjoy what they want. I myself have no issue with it, and I imagine if, for whatever reason, I knew somebody that actively partook, I'd have no shame in it. Say one of my friends actively wants to play the game just as a casual enjoyment of it. It's unironically a good game, a lot of fun. It has its issues. The performance, for one. My game has to look like this for the speedruns, otherwise I have, like, frame skips. The game buffers and I lose half a second each time it does. And it adds up over this run. It happens like once every 2 minutes. A few times I blue screened. Yeah, about on time this time. Making sure that signal box is a good way of telling if I'd had those skips, because I cross it at 10 minutes exactly in my runs that I did before. But yeah, there's a lot of bugs. There's a lot of timetables you can't complete because the signals don't change. The physics engine, as everybody's seen online, pretty goofy if you get off the rails. It's easy to get off the rails with, like, coupling to trucks and coaches on top of points in the track. And the landscape's a bit I understand that this is generally, like, this would be appropriate at times, but it feels like this is the whole map. Outside of, like, specific landmark areas, so the quarry, the harbour, the yards and the stations, everything connecting those locations all looks the same to me, with the same copy and pasted assets. And I understand that the assets themselves would be the same, like this tree is probably posted 20 times just in this shot. But it feels like the collection of the assets is the same. It all seems to be slightly uneven fields with trees dotted around. Like, there's no dense forest. Like, there's a landmark for Henry's Forest that's not very forest-like, if you catch my drift. I just feel that there could have been more. But anyway, time to focus. This is the one part of the run where we need to focus up. And there we go. Focus over. Slightly too slow. That might cost me the world record. We'll see though, we'll see. As far as I'm aware, the world record for this challenge run is 16 minutes 13 seconds. Now, although I wouldn't want to repeat the commentary over and over again, what I may do is, after this run and after this recording, just give it a couple more attempts if I don't hit it, and then post it at the end. We'll see, we'll see. I still might beat it in this run. I don't know. This is on track to be like 16:11 or 16:10.8, based on how my runs end at platform 3. I think the ending is slightly slower because you have to slow down more and earlier, which affects the what's it called, the speed afterwards, so you're traveling slower. And I'm probably going to lose time from not knowing exactly where to stop to get the objective clear notif, and I know that's part of the rules for this run, but we'll see, we'll see. Only 2 minutes till we find out. But no, had a lot of fun. A lot of fun with the game, a lot of fun with the speedruns. It's been fun seeing the community built around the IP still going strong as an outsider. Okay, time to focus up again. I want to break, I think, at around 0.8. It's like 0.75 miles-ish, but it'll show it as 0.8 because it only does 1 point. But yeah. One, two, three. Just put the brakes on from here. I'm just wary because I know the points are sooner and they're quite violent and they can shake Gordon's tender. So I want to make sure that I do approach quite carefully. It's only like 50 yards from where we normally slow down anyway. I know that's plenty. Slow enough. I've overshot it. Ah, that might have been it. We'll see. What I'll do is I will give it another run and then see how we get on.